Scotland has some of the best natural offshore renewable energy resources in Europe. Perfect conditions for the development and commercialisation of renewable energy technology. With market demand for offshore renewables on the rise, the Scottish Government is hugely supportive of this burgeoning industry.
We're leading the world in renewable technologies, and we've got to stay in front and we've got to accelerate forward. Because we've got the potential now to reindustrialise Scotland, to reindustrialise, re-engineer the country, everywhere from Nigg here in the north to Renfrew in central Scotland. This is going to be a huge adventure. It's going to generate tens of thousands of jobs. And what we're providing is the ambition and the leadership to make Scotland the green energy powerhouse of the European continent.
The necessary infrastructure is already developing, attracting innovative companies serving European energy needs. Suitable sites have been identified and favourable planning, licensing and funding regimes are in place.
Scottish Enterprise and obviously Scottish Development International SDI are one of the key partners in this, but I will really want to stress the partnership. We'll only deliver this in Scotland if all of the public and private sector come together, and key to that is the government's absolute commitment to this sector. So within that, Scottish Enterprise has unashamedly prioritised very high on our agenda renewables generally and offshore wind specifically. Our role will be helping the supply chain base in Scotland. It'll be helping with the engineering base and working on the skills with our colleagues in Skills Development Scotland, and very importantly a key role in pulling together all of this infrastructure development with the ports to bring a proposition to the market, if you like. And then of course SDI, day in, day out, are all over the world targeting the companies that are likely to want to come to Scotland.
With a 40-year history of oil and gas exploration and production, Scotland has many of the skills and facilities necessary to develop major offshore energy projects.
The offshore structures, the environment of actually working offshore, the challenge of working in an offshore environment is very different from the onshore environment. There's challenging weather conditions, there's different safety challenges, it's different people. We know a lot about the structures, we know a lot about embedding the structures in the seabed, we understand the weather conditions offshore. So there's a very significant overlap. And the technology, it isn't just the structures themselves. As we look at substations and all, there's a big overlap in technology. And logistics, one of the biggest challenges of working offshore is actually marshalling everything to get it together at the right place at the right time and using helicopters, and it's exactly the same challenge for offshore wind.
But the massive potential around these shores offers even greater opportunities.
Over the next decade there's going to be a significant amount of offshore wind installation around our coastline, capitalising on the vast natural resources that we have. And all that represents a huge opportunity. An opportunity to create a new industry, an opportunity to create new jobs and to generate economic and community benefit across our country. And I believe we've got some great building blocks with which to start. Excellent ports and harbours across the country, an excellent skills base and research structure, and also a supply chain with many businesses already operating internationally in the energy sector. HI is working closely with our partners, with industry and developers to make sure we understand their requirements and to ensure that collectively we do all we need to do to seize what I believe is a once-in-a-generation opportunity.
The Talisman Beatrice turbines are the world's first and largest deep-water offshore wind turbines, installed in waters over 40 metres deep and 19 kilometres offshore.
Talisman Beatrice was a project that we were involved in. We didn't actually build the structure, we just assembled it down at our Nigg yard, put it together, two big turbines that is now working on Beatrice, and we also were involved in the marine side and taking the turbines from Nigg out and installing them in Beatrice. So again, we were there at the start of offshore wind. There is a lot of transferable skills that can go from oil and gas into renewables. Renewables is a different industry. There will be more manufacturing rather than bespoke, but the skills that are required are eminently transferable. They're strong. We're never going to see 5,000 people at Nigg again working on that site, but there is no reason why this new industry cannot bring 2,000 jobs to this area, and we'll work very hard with the government and with the agencies involved to do that.
There are more than 2,000 companies in the Scottish energy sector operating in over 100 countries, offering a truly global perspective and experience.
We currently have just under 1,000 megawatts of wind farms in operation, with almost half of those located in Scotland. We've also got a further 600 megawatts currently in construction, which will come online over the next 18 months. We've recently announced a supply chain alliance with some key suppliers for the development and construction of our offshore wind farms in Scotland. That includes Siemens Wind Power, but also Scottish companies Burnt Island Fabrication, who will manufacture the foundations, and Subsea 7, located in Aberdeen, who bring their offshore oil and gas expertise into the offshore wind market, which is one of the first offshore oil and gas companies to do so.
Across the country now we have almost 1,000 megawatts of wind operating. We have that spread across 15 to 20 sites across the United Kingdom. The majority of them are in Scotland. We're investing £2.7 billion in Scotland over a number of years. For a number of reasons. One, in terms of renewables and wind, the resource in Scotland is fantastic. It's got some of the highest wind speeds anywhere in Europe.
The nature of the renewables industry means that there's a dynamic culture of collaboration here. Established industry groups make Scotland a great place to find partners, information and support.
What Scotland has, which I think is absolutely unique, is a very mature connection between research, development, demonstration and deployment through its research base, right the way through to demonstration in places like EMEC and the Orkneys, all the way through to what we have in terms of the Scottish Energy Laboratory. So what is unique is the capacity, the quality and the integration of our research base, not only across the Energy Technology Partnership, but increasingly now with industrial investors, be that indigenous companies, utilities, manufacturers, to a very large and increasing number of inward investors that will give us, in my opinion, an unrivaled position for innovation globally.
From conception to commercial operation, there's a supply chain of contractors to ensure end-to-end delivery of projects.
Well, Scotland is a natural location for us just because, firstly, we have been in Scotland for more than 100 years through Babcock. We have there our engineering force, we have there some production facilities, so Scotland is really the heart of our activities. Second, Scotland has a lot of infrastructures that are very favorable for the wind offshore program. And third, the commitment of the UK and Scottish governments toward offshore is what has determined us to implement here our activities for the future offshore programs. Our first priority is to establish ourselves here, to develop our R&D center for these large offshore wind turbines here in Scotland, to develop our production facilities, and we will concentrate on that. And for sure, the commitment of the government here is a very important point for us in our decision.
Business development opportunities and locations exist for both established companies keen to invest or expand and for new inward investors.
Why? Because we choose the Scotland is we have several reasons. One is maybe you know that already we have acquired Scottish venture named Artemis AIP because they have a very innovative technology and we'd like to deploy this technology onto our great scale of offshore wind turbine. And then the Scotland, they have a government commitment, strong government commitment, and also the industry is now emerging, and also the academy is like 15 or 16 internationally renowned universities there. So the government, industry and academy is, they combined very well to proceed this one. This is the reason why.
Offshore renewable energy in Scotland. It's a key component of our dynamic economic growth, and it underlines our fundamental commitment to provide low-cost, clean and green energy by harnessing this vast natural resource.